Now listen to me real good, because I know somebody in here is hurting. You walked away, or somebody walked away from you, and now you're sitting there thinking, how do I get them back? Let me break this down for you plain and simple. The first thing you got to do is stop chasing. People respect what they can't have. If you keep blowing up his phone, sending messages, stalking social media, begging for attention, you're just confirming that he don't need to fight for you. Pull yourself back. Let silence speak louder than your words. Second, you need to level up your life. Don't sit around crying in the dark, waiting for him to notice. Get busy with your goals, your health, your career, your faith. When a man sees that you ain't stuck, that you're glowing, that you're out here living better than before, it does something to him. Pride gets shook, ego gets bruised, and all of a sudden he starts to think, wait a minute, did I lose the best thing I ever had? Third thing, carry yourself with dignity. Don't act out of revenge. Don't broadcast your pain. Don't compete with anybody he's with now. Because when you carry yourself with grace, you remind him of what real class looks like. That's when the comparison starts working in your favor. See, love ain't about begging. It's about knowing your worth. And when you know your worth, that's when the tables turn. He'll see the change. He'll feel the distance. And the day will come when he'll show up talking about, can we talk? Can we start over? But here's the truth. By the time he comes running back, you'll be strong enough to decide whether you even want him anymore. Because real power is not in making him beg you to come back. Real power is becoming so whole, so confident, so blessed that you don't need to go back at all. When you're dealing with somebody who walked away from you, the very first instinct inside you is to chase after them. You want to call, text, explain yourself, remind them of the good times, maybe even plead with them to see what they're missing. But let me tell you the truth. You can't chase a person into respecting you. You can't beg someone into loving you again. The harder you push yourself onto them, the faster they run in the opposite direction. That's just how human nature works. People want what they feel they can lose, and they take for granted what's always chasing after them. If you really want to shift the balance, the strongest thing you can do is pull back and let silence speak for you. Now, silence is powerful, but it ain't easy. It takes courage to sit in the quiet, to resist that urge to reach out. It feels like if you don't speak, you'll disappear. But in reality, when you stop showing up every time, that's when they start to notice the emptiness. Think about it. If you're always answering on the first ring, always showing up, always available, there's no reason for them to value your time. But when suddenly your presence is missing, when they don't hear your voice, when their phone lights up and it's not you anymore, it starts to create a question in their mind. That question is more powerful than any speech you could give. Where did they go? Why don't I hear from them? Who are they with? That's how the mind works. Silence makes noise in a way words never can. See, your worth is not in how much you can prove to somebody else. Your worth is already there. And the only way someone can see it is when you step back and let them feel the gap. Silence ain't about playing games. It's about creating space for self-respect. It's telling the world, I know what I bring to the table, and I don't have to beg you to eat with me. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop chasing, when you stop pressing, you actually gain control. Because now the other person has to wonder. They have to sit with themselves and face what life looks like without you constantly in it. I'm not saying silence is revenge. It's not about punishing anyone. It's about protecting your own peace. When you choose not to respond, you're not being cold. You're being wise. You're putting your energy where it belongs, in your healing, in your growth, in your future. And when that happens, when you shift your focus off them and back onto you, something changes in your spirit. You stand taller. You feel stronger. You start moving forward again instead of being stuck in the same cycle of begging for scraps of attention. And I promise you this, that silence will do more work for you than any long text message ever could. That silence will echo louder in his mind than any argument you could have. He'll replay it in his head. He'll check his phone, hoping to see your name pop up. He'll start to feel the loss. And when he finally realizes you've stopped chasing, that's when the tables turn. That's when he starts chasing you. Because absence has a way of teaching people what presence really meant. So if you want him to beg you to come back, the first step is not running after him. It's standing still. It's knowing that you are enough and you don't have to prove it by exhausting yourself. Let silence be your loudest voice. Let your absence be the teacher. Because a man can ignore your words, but he cannot ignore the hole you leave when you walk away with dignity. That's when he'll remember. That's when he'll realize. And that's when the begging begins. Recommendation, I can now expand the second when you step away from chasing and begging. The next thing you have to do is focus on leveling up your life. Because nothing speaks louder than progress. See, people expect you to crumble when they leave. They expect you to sit in the dark, cry every night, fall apart, and keep waiting for them to come back. But when you flip that script and start building instead of breaking, it shocks them. It makes them realize you are not dependent on their presence to shine. The best response to heartbreak is not revenge, not drama, but elevation. You rise, and in rising, you remind them of what they lost. Leveling up is not just about looking good, though that's part of it. It's about taking care of your health, your mind, your spirit, your finances, and your dreams. It's about doing the very things you might have put on hold while you were wrapped up in them. Did you stop going after your career goals? Did you stop investing in yourself? Did you stop dreaming? Now is the time to pick all that back up. When you chase your purpose, you create a glow around you that no one can ignore. That glow is not fake. It's the shine of someone who decided to stand strong again. See, a man doesn't feel the weight of his mistake just because you told him he hurt you. He feels it when he sees you thriving without him. He feels it when your pictures look joyful, when your energy is peaceful, when you're walking into rooms looking confident. That's when comparison begins. He looks at you, then looks at the situation he's in now, and his mind starts working against him. He'll start to remember how supportive, how radiant, how ambitious you were, and wonder why he let that go. But here's the secret. You're not doing this for him. You're doing this for you. The fact that it makes him regret is just the side effect. When you level up, you also stop sending out desperation energy. Desperation repels people, but confidence attracts them. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how someone who seems unbothered, who's busy with their own goals, suddenly becomes 10 times more appealing? That's exactly how it works. Men are drawn to women who know who they are and where they're going. When you show that you can stand on your own 2 feet, it shakes his pride, because deep down, he wanted to believe you couldn't move on without him. And don't get it twisted. Leveling up doesn't mean posting every move online to prove something. You don't need to broadcast your growth for validation. Real progress speaks for itself. The people who need to notice will notice. The man who left will see the difference, whether you intend him to or not. So go ahead and sign up for that class, start that business, get in shape, travel somewhere new, deepen your faith, build your circle stronger. Every step you take toward a better version of yourself is a step away from needing him. What you'll discover is this: as you keep leveling up, your heart won't hurt the same way anymore. The pain that used to keep you up at night gets replaced by pride in yourself. You stop wondering when he'll call and start realizing how much better your life feels without the chaos. And that's when the real twist happens. When you no longer need him back, that's when he'll want you the most. That's when he'll beg to return. Because nothing messes with a man's mind more than realizing the person he left behind has become untouchable. So make progress your priority. Let growth be your revenge. Let success be your statement. Because the higher you climb, the smaller his absence feels. And when he finally looks back, he won't see the broken version of you. He'll see the stronger, brighter, unstoppable version. The one he should have cherished from the start. When you decide to rise after heartbreak, one of the most important lessons you can learn is how to glow without bitterness. Because see, a lot of people think the only way to prove they're doing better is to act spiteful, to throw shade, to show the world they're unbothered when deep down they're still hurting. But bitterness has a way of leaking out in your words, your actions, even in your smile. And when you carry bitterness, you don't look free. You look stuck. The real glow, the kind that makes somebody stop in their tracks, doesn't come from revenge or proving a point. It comes from genuine peace. Glowing without bitterness means you don't allow the pain to turn your heart hard. You don't let anger control your moves. You don't build your whole life around trying to make somebody jealous. Because the moment you do that, you've given them power. You're saying, my progress exists just to show you something. But true power is when your progress exists because you love yourself enough to keep moving. When people see that, when they look at you and see joy that can't be faked, laughter that's real, peace that radiates from the inside out, that's when they realize they lost something rare. Now let's be honest. It's natural to feel hurt. It's natural to feel angry. You invested time, love, and energy into someone who didn't value it. Those feelings will come. But glowing without bitterness is about what you do with those feelings. Instead of lashing out, you redirect that energy into becoming better. Instead of posting cryptic quotes online, you use that time to heal, to build, to enjoy life. Because nothing speaks louder than happiness that doesn't need an audience. Bitterness might give you a temporary sense of control, but peace gives you long-term power. When he sees you not only moving forward, but doing it gracefully, it hits him differently. He might expect you to be angry, to drag his name, to show the world you're still bothered. But when instead you show kindness, when you keep your dignity, when you look good and live well without saying a single negative word about him, that silence and that glow will eat at him. He'll sit back thinking, How can she be that good without me? How can she smile like that? How can she look so free? That's the kind of glow no bitterness can ever match. And here's the thing. You don't glow just to be seen. You glow because healing makes you shine. You glow because you've made peace with yourself, with your story, and even with the person who hurt you. That doesn't mean you excuse their behavior. It means you refuse to let their choices poison your future. Every time you smile from a place of peace, every time you laugh without forcing it, every time you walk into a room confident in your skin, you're glowing without bitterness. And trust me, people notice. That glow has a way of haunting the one who left. He'll compare the woman he sees now to the one he remembers. He'll realize the version of you he broke is not the version standing here today. And when he sees that you didn't turn bitter, that you didn't let the pain define you, that you came out brighter than ever, that's when regret sets in. That's when he'll wish he could have that energy back in his life. But the best part, by then, you won't even need him to notice. Your glow won't be for him. It'll be for you, for the new doors opening, for the new joy you've built, for the new life you're stepping into. And when a man sees that kind of glow, he doesn't just miss you. He feels like he lost the best version of you. That's the silent victory. That's when he'll want to beg for another chance. And whether you give it or not, the glow you carry will already be your answer. Carrying yourself with dignity is one of the strongest moves you can make when someone walks out of your life. Because let's be real, pain can push you to do things you wouldn't normally do. You feel betrayed, you feel rejected, and you want the whole world to know you're hurting. Some people start blasting their ex online, throwing shade at the new person, or trying to stir up drama just to get a reaction. But when you go down that road, you don't win, you lose. You lose your peace, you lose your respect, and worst of all, you lose the chance to show that you're bigger than the situation. Dignity means you rise above it. You don't let somebody else's choice drag you out of character. When you carry yourself with dignity, you're saying to the world, I know my value, and I don't have to prove it by tearing anyone down. That doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. That doesn't mean you're unaffected. It just means you refuse to let that pain control how you act. And the truth is, nothing confuses a man more than seeing the person he thought he broke standing tall, smiling, moving forward without losing her class. He might expect anger. He might expect jealousy. But when he sees dignity, it forces him to look at you differently. See, dignity is power. You don't have to argue with the new person in his life. You don't have to compete. You don't have to show up in places trying to prove you're better. That kind of behavior only proves the opposite. It shows you're still stuck. But when you hold your head high, stay out of the mess, and keep living with grace, you remind him of what true strength looks like. You remind him of why you were valuable in the first place. And while he's out there in chaos, you'll be standing in peace. And that contrast will speak louder than any words ever could. People respect what they can't break. When you carry yourself with dignity, you're sending the message that no matter what happened, you won't let it destroy your spirit. That alone is magnetic. Men might not always admit it out loud, but they notice the difference between a woman who handles heartbreak with bitterness and one who handles it with elegance. And when that comparison sets in, it stirs something deep he starts to wonder, how is she so composed? How is she so strong? Did I really let go of someone that rare? That's the moment the regret creeps in. Now let me be clear. Carrying yourself with dignity is not about pretending you're okay. It's not about hiding your feelings. It's about choosing the higher road even while you're healing. Cry behind closed doors. Talk to your loved ones. Pray. Do whatever you need to process. But when you step out into the world, step out with pride, not fake pride. The kind that comes from knowing you still have purpose, you still have value, and you still have a future that doesn't depend on anybody else. And here's the beauty of it, when you live with dignity. You don't just gain the respect of the man who left, you gain the respect of everyone watching. Friends, family, coworkers, even strangers notice how you handled it. And more importantly, you gain respect for yourself. You look in the mirror and know you didn't let heartbreak drag you into bitterness, jealousy, or drama. You stood tall. And that inner respect becomes a kind of strength nobody can take away. Eventually, he's going to look back and see that while he was busy making choices, you were busy keeping your dignity intact. And that's going to eat at him. Because nothing hurts a man's ego more than realizing the woman he left didn't crumble. She rose higher. That's when he'll want to come back, when he'll start reaching out, when he'll try to test if he still has a place. But by then, your dignity will have built a foundation so strong that you'll be in the position of choice. You'll decide whether to open that door or keep it closed. Either way, the dignity you carried will already have given you the victory. Knowing your worth is the turning point that changes everything after heartbreak. Because when someone leaves you, it can shake your confidence to the core. You start asking questions like, what's wrong with me? Wasn't I enough? Did I fail somewhere? That self-doubt can eat away at you if you let it. But the truth is, your worth has never been tied to who stays or who goes. Your value is not measured by another person's ability to recognize it. It was there before they came into your life, and it will be there long after they're gone. The problem is, sometimes you forget that, and forgetting your worth makes you desperate for people who don't deserve you. When you remember who you are, the game changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop comparing yourself to whoever came after you. Instead, you remind yourself of everything you bring to the table. Your love, your loyalty, your effort, your kindness, your intelligence, your drive. These are things that can't be duplicated. These are things somebody else can never replace. And when you truly grasp that, you start walking differently. You start speaking differently. You start carrying yourself with a kind of confidence that says, I don't need you to validate me. I already know my value. Knowing your worth also protects you from falling into toxic cycles. Because if you don't know your value, you'll settle for anything just to have someone by your side. You'll accept mistreatment, lies, and broken promises because you think that's the best you can get. But when you know your worth, you raise the standard. You won't allow just anyone into your space. You won't allow just anyone to speak into your life. You won't accept being an option when you know you were built to be a priority. That shift in mindset is powerful. It not only changes how you see yourself, it changes how others treat you. Now here's the thing. Men can sense when a woman knows her worth. It's in the way she carries herself, the way she says no to nonsense, the way she doesn't settle for less than she deserves. And when he sees that, especially if he once had a place in your life, it stirs regret. Because deep down, he knows he had something valuable, but treated it like it was common. And when he sees that you've reclaimed your confidence, that you're no longer operating out of fear or desperation, it forces him to face what he lost. That's when the begging begins. That's when he wants to come back. But the beauty of knowing your worth is this: you won't need his begging anymore. Because when you understand your value, you no longer crave validation from the one who walked away. You won't measure your importance by his return. Instead, you'll stand tall and realize that whether he comes back or not, you are still whole, still powerful, still worthy. That realization is freedom. It sets you free from the cycle of needing him to see your value, because you've already seen it for yourself. And once you reach that point, everything about you changes. Your energy shifts. You attract better opportunities, better people, better love. You carry yourself like somebody who knows they deserve more. And life responds by giving you more. And when he looks at you then, when he sees that glow, that strength, that confidence, it'll hit him hard. He'll realize the truth. He lost someone who finally woke up to her own value. And no matter what he does, he can't control that power anymore. That's why knowing your worth is the ultimate move. It's the foundation for every other step. Because when you know your worth, you can let go with peace. You can move on with confidence. And you can stand firm in the face of heartbreak. And the day he comes back begging, you'll realize you no longer need him to prove what you already know. You were enough all along. Holding the real power is the final stage. And it's the part that surprises people the most. Because when somebody leaves you, it feels like they hold all the cards. They made the choice. They walked away. They picked someone else, and you're left with the pain. In that moment, you think they have the control. But over time, as you pull back, as you level up, as you glow without bitterness, as you carry yourself with dignity, and as you remember your worth, something shifts. The control starts moving back into your hands. And the real power is not in whether he comes back. It's in knowing you get to choose if you even want him when he does. See, a lot of people think the goal is just to make him regret, to make him beg, to make him chase again. But that's not the highest victory. The real victory is when you've grown so much, healed so much, and elevated so much that you don't need his return to feel complete. Because let me tell you, when a man feels you don't need him anymore, that's when he starts to panic. That's when he shows up knocking, trying to find his way back. And ironically, that's when you're in the position to decide, not him, you. Holding the real power means you're not driven by desperation. You're not waiting by the phone, hoping for a message. You're not stalking his life, checking who he's with. Instead, you're busy living, growing, loving yourself. And when he does try to re-enter, you get to ask yourself, does this even serve me anymore? Does this relationship still match the woman I've become? That question alone shows how far you've come. Because once upon a time, you just wanted him back no matter what. Now, you want peace, happiness, and love that values you. And let me tell you something else. When he begs, it won't be because you pressured him into it. It'll be because he felt the difference. He felt the silence. He saw the growth. He noticed the glow. He respected the dignity, and he recognized the worth. All of that worked together to wake him up. But by then, you're not the same woman he left. You've evolved. You've built something stronger inside yourself. That means the begging doesn't control you. It empowers you. Because now you have the choice to say yes or no. This is where you find freedom. Freedom from the cycle of needing someone else's love to feel valuable. Freedom from the pain that once made you cry at night. Freedom from the idea that your happiness depends on somebody else's decision. The power is in your hands now. And that's not just about him. It's about everything in your life. When you realize you can survive what you thought would break you, you carry that strength into every area. You walk into new opportunities, new relationships, new seasons of your life with boldness. And here's the irony. When you finally hold the real power, that's when he'll want you the most. Because nothing stings like realizing the person you left behind no longer needs you. Nothing humbles a man more than knowing the woman he thought would chase him forever has found peace without him. That's when the begging gets real. But by then, you'll look at him differently. You won't see him as your savior anymore. You'll see him as just another option. And that's what real power feels like, knowing you don't have to take back what once hurt you. So yes, he may beg you to come back. Yes, he may realize his mistake. But the real question will be, do you even want him now? Because the ultimate win is not just having someone regret losing you. The ultimate win is becoming so complete within yourself that you no longer need what once broke you. That's when you've truly turned the pain into power. That's when you stand tall, unshaken, unbothered, and unstoppable. And that right there is the kind of power no one can take away from you.